Shortall.
Thank you, Cathaoirleach. At the outset, I just want to express my complete dissatisfaction with the way the Minister dealt with his speaking slot this morning. The whole purpose of this session is that we have accountability from the Minister for the vaccine programme. That's the purpose of these sessions every Thursday morning. It is entirely unacceptable that the Minister would give away more than half of his time to a government backbencher. That's not accountability, Minister, that's avoiding accountability. And we need a ruling from the Chair in relation to that, and it is not acceptable that that would happen ever again. There is a real problem here with the Minister over-promising, in my view. You talk a lot about the vaccine programme now when you're on the media. You talk very little about the actual management of COVID, and there is no opportunity for accountability on the announcement that the government made earlier in the week, which raises huge questions. There's huge credibility issues, and indeed many of the proposals from government in relation to quarantining are really just nonsense. So we have to have accountability for that also. And I noted yesterday that when the Minister was asked, you know, if we're extending the restrictions until the 5th of March, what happens then? And the response from the Minister was that we'd have the vaccine. Now, we won't have the vaccines. A very small proportion of the population will be vaccinated by the 5th of March. So, you know, you're playing two sides of this, Minister, and you're avoiding the accountability, both in relation to the management of it and also in relation to the rollout of the vaccine. I think you're hugely over-promising, Minister. And, you know, I think everybody accepts that there are serious problems with the suppliers and with, you know, pinning down supply. AstraZeneca has been a disgrace in the way they are failing to meet the terms of contracts that they signed. Other pharma companies are not delivering on what they promised, and there is uncertainty about aspects of different vaccines, not only in relation to supply, but also in relation to efficacy. But, Minister, you need to be upfront about that. You need to be frank with people, and you need to level with people about what they are, rather than over-promising, because that gives people a false sense of security. And that's very much what happened in the lead-up to Christmas, where there was an overselling of the vaccine, and that resulted in it contributed to people letting down their guard, and we know the consequences of that. So look, I'm asking you to be upfront with people, be frank, tell us the honest figures, and stop over-promising. We're not getting daily updates, Minister, we're getting weekly updates, and that's not sufficient. We asked for a daily update on the numbers of vaccines delivered to this country and the numbers administered. And I'm asking you again to give a commitment to doing that. I also want to know what exactly now is the position in relation to those two cohorts that are the priority, which you made promises about last week and which haven't been delivered. So how many nursing home residents and staff still need to get the first dose? When do you expect all nursing home residents and staff to be completed with the full second dose? I'm asking the same questions in relation to frontline healthcare workers. How many of those have received their first dose? And at this point, when do you expect all of them to be completed in terms of the second dose? I also have a question then in relation to disability long-term care facilities. Now, it is very good that residents over 65 have been vaccinated in those, but I cannot understand why staff have not been vaccinated. And why would you not vaccinate staff, just as, you know, the plan is to vaccinate staff in nursing homes? So if you could answer those questions, I'd appreciate it. And if you don't have time, can you please come back to us as early as possible with the exact figures? Thank you.
Going to be strict on the time limit, Minister.
Thanks, Chair, and thanks, Deputy. I'll get back to you with a detailed note. Just with regard to the daily updates, you should be getting them. I've asked at every member, so I will follow that up immediately to make sure you should be. If you're not, I'll make sure that's rectified. And then with regard to getting them online, so they're being changed twice a week at the moment, and we're moving quickly. I want to get them up as quickly as possible, so both on the data hub and on the app. that the daily updates are done. Can I just make a point on the over-promising? So what I was asked for was indicative timelines, right? And I do think, in fairness, if we were to go back and look at the record of the debate here last week, all of the numbers were heavily caveated, and it was a genuine attempt, and remains a genuine attempt, to give people some sense for when we're talking about. So people were asking here last week, are we talking the start of summer? Are we talking the end of summer? Are we talking next year? Are we talking 2 years? And what I said, and remains the position, is if all of the supplies come in, then these are the timelines. I think it is reasonable to try and give people that sort of direction, but
Okay,
I would hope
Minister.
that would. I'll finish on this. Thanks, Chair.
No,
I would
thanks,
hope that
Minister.
would not be mischaracterised as making promises. They're not promises. They're a genuine attempt to try and give people a sense for the kind of timing we would like to see.
Okay, going to call
Thank you,
Deputy
Chair.
James O'Connor, please. You're sharing your time, Deputy James O'Connor. Thanks.
Yeah.